Good afternoon, distinguished YesEd members and friends. Welcome to the second program of the Sustainability webcast series, where we showcase the good practices of YesEd members. Just a reminder for our audience who just started following the webcast series today, this is a 15 program series that will encompass all sectors of the economy that YesEd members are contributing to. We are extremely content that even after the first program, YesEd members got in touch with our first guest and started exchanging information on the showcase content. It is clear that more than half of what we do under our sustainability efforts can be implemented in many different settings, regardless of the industries. And content presented in this series will be reachable through our website at all times and will be translated into a best practices in sustainability document that we will share with our wider stakeholder base. The program will be closed with an international summit on sustainability, but our efforts will continue to net zero and beyond. And needless to say, this series aims to provide evidence based input to Green Deal Action Plan and climate conference studies currently coordinated by the Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change. And without further ado, here we are today with senior executives of our distinguished member Duracell. Mr. Frank IMBESCHEID, the PR Director of Sustainability Leader of Duracell Europe and Africa, and Mr. Kerem SİNANOİLU, who is the General Manager of Duracell Turkey, Israel, and Caucasia, are with us today. Frank, Kerem Bey, welcome. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And Frank, you are very much welcome to our live stream as well. And we know Duracell is committed to sustainability down to the core and is also contributing to the development of better regulations and strategies at global level. And when we get to the bottom of everything, it is the company vision that makes the difference. And Duracell is one of our members, which takes it to the next level. Happy to say that. And Frank, what can you tell us about how Duracell internalizes the green transition, harnesses renewable energy, and aligns its corporate goals and strategies with the UN SDGs? And maybe you can add to this one as what are the challenges in the way, and what is your strategy to involve your employees and consumers in the process of this change, this very important change? Thank you very much again to be with us. And Frank, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, when I see the presentation, there it is. So, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Duracell's approach to sustainability. Now, when we look at sustainability, I would need to talk about now the three areas, social, economic, and environmental. But, that would potentially be exceeding the 30 minutes that I've been given. But also looking into when we did internal assessment when it comes to social sustainability, when we look at equality of pay, gender, opportunity, the way we ethically conduct business, we are in a very good position there. Now, Duracell being part of Berkshire Hathaway is synonymous with, sustainable long-term growth. And that are one of the key prerequisites of the economic pillar of sustainability. However, it also says there, that the sustainable long-term growth shall be achieved minimizing, and that's one element, the impact on the environment, which brings me to the third pillar, environmental, which is our focus area. And clearly, if you want to make a change when it comes to sustainability, you need to focus. Sustainability is a big topic. It's very complex. And in order to find your vantage point, you need to do proper assessment in order to know what role you can play to tangibly change things for the better. Now, environmental sustainability, and this is our focus area, this is what I'm going to talk about, and I think is driven by clear pressure points. Let's put it this way. Above all, climate change. I don't think anyone connected today would doubt or would question the fact of climate change. So we as individuals, as groups, as companies, as governments, we are all asked to deliver our fair share and our knowledge and our commitment and our passion in order to slow down climate change and to contribute our fair share in order to inverse, ideally, the process. Now, I see two big pushes when it comes to sustainability, and one of which was the launch of the 17 Sustainability Development Goals from the UN. Clearly, that happened in 2016, which, by the way, coincides with Duracell becoming our own company. We have been part of Procter & Gamble before. We were one brand among many, but with, as said, with the transition to Berkshire Hathaway and becoming part of the Berkshire Hathaway family of companies, we spent, I dare say, the first 1.5, 2 years, getting our business up and running, successful as you know it today. But very soon, and I'm saying 2017, 18, after the goals have been launched, we looked at what is relevant for us as a company out of the 17. The benefit of the 17 development goals is versus the Millennium Goals that we had before is they broke down this super complex topic of sustainability into digestible topics and chunks, which allowed governments and also companies to pick and choose where they, as said before, where they want to influence, where they want to change things for the better. And you see circled here the 3 areas that we thought for Duracell are the ones where we can make a positive intervention. The one is affordable and clean energy. It's at the heart what we produce. We are a battery producer. So for us, it's super important that, that we produce batteries that last longer, that have less impact on the environment, but at the same time, this is how we interpret it for us, they need to be affordable for our consumers no matter where they are on the planet. Because with an increasingly mobile lifestyle, batteries become more and more important. So you have a double responsibility here. And number 9 is all about industry innovation and infrastructure. Now, our theme, our motto, if you will, our mission is innovation is the key to lower environmental impact. Now, that sounds like a nice phrase, and anyone can say that in a way. But in a couple of minutes, I will give you more insight how we believe and how we actually can prove that the more you innovate behind your product, your pack, the way you look about collection and recycling of batteries, the way you produce the batteries, you can really make a positive impact on the environment. And last but not least, it's about responsible consumption and production. That goes a little bit back to number 7. Responsible consumption means a battery that lasts longer is good for consumers, is good for their wallet, but it's also good for the environment because essentially you create less waste. But also the way our batteries are being produced is important, that the production of these vital items, such as our batteries, need to be done in a way that you gradually and very quickly lower our impact on the environment. So that for me was the big first push from an organization from the end. The second, a little bit closer to home, if I may say so, because we are based here in Geneva, Switzerland. So I'm talking to you out of Geneva today. It was the EU sustainability push in 2020, which I think we all know was the launch of the European Green Deal, which was a big piece of policy and a highly relevant one. The more execution leg of this one is the Circular Economy Action Plan. And for us as battery producers, the Battery Directive, which exists since 2008, which is all about the management of spent batteries, how to collect, how to recycle, and a couple of more elements. Currently, this battery directive is under revision, and it will be a future regulation respecting future battery technologies and making sure, and there we provide as an industry a lot of data and research to the regulators to consider, to make the right decision to come up with a battery directive that actually yields positive benefits for the environment, making sure that only high quality batteries are being used by consumers in Europe and wider, and so Turkey, and that batteries are collected in a meaningful way and are being recycled. And I also come back later in the presentation to that point. Now, to give you a little bit, it's a bit of an eye chart, I admit, but to give you a little bit of an overview of Duracell's glide path, if you will, a voyage of sustainability. And I think sustainability in a way is a bit of a buzzword today. I think back in the days, you would call that responsibility, potentially, environmental protection. But what the term sustainability does today, I think it combines this, all the complex, all the different areas of what we need to work on, but also provides that sense of urgency. Um, we have been traditionally working, and it's part of our competitive model, is to make our batteries more efficient, longer lasting. So this is at the heart of everything that we're doing. But also when it comes to the packaging, I gave a little bit more information later on. Avoiding plastic, making sure you're using recycled cardboard and so forth, has anyway been at the heart of everything that we did in the past. Now, 2016, as just said, when we became our own company, one of the first action things that we did after the transition part is to assess what is our impact on the environment. So we did the first carbon footprint assessment. Without strong data, don't even think about obviously, developing a strategy because you don't know. So you need to know where you stand and what are the key areas that you need to change. Turn that into a sustainability report. We then, did first life cycle assessments where we compared technologies, ours versus others, where there's other modern, where they're potentially not so efficient one, to understand how do we need to further innovate to make batteries even longer lasting and actually drive the message of key point is efficient technology are the key to lower your impact on the environment. Next to that, we worked with, we did something like the battery hunt where I worked in the UK, in France, in Germany, with schools specifically to change consumer behavior driven by the youngsters, who I think are much more environmentally conscious, so that more batteries are being collected and recycled. Because looking at Europe, everyone knows to recycle cardboard, PET, glass, and so forth. Batteries are not so much in that pattern. So that's another thing. We need to drive consumers to make more collection, which then also means we need to talk to them where they purchase our product, where they interact with us. That's Amazon website, consumer facing communication on sustainability, so they understand why all of this is super important. We just concluded our second carbon footprint assessment, our first global one. And that is the key document to define our future strategies moving forward. And next to that, we're also looking into, and we already started working with, certification agencies, accreditation agencies to make sure that our supply and value chain is ethically sound, if there's any area we need to improve, we know we can act upon it and so forth. So all in all, I think what that chart tries to convey here is we have been, and we are much more on a mission of sustainability. Very concretely, our strategy currently moving forward is built on 4 pillars. And as said before, in order to really make an impact, you need to focus. Now, if you look at these 4 pillars, when we look at batteries and packaging are clear focus areas where we can make the biggest difference. But that does not exclude what we, in terms of that we environmentally more friendly produce our batteries and that we also drive collection and recycling of batteries. Let's do a quick deeper dive on those 4 pillars. Now, as said before, and call me biased because I'm working for Duracell, and obviously we are one of the key alkaline battery producers, and we just introduced, and so this is not a dog and pony show here, but just goes to show that we just introduced our latest technology, Optimum, which is we consider as the revamping of the alkaline technology. It's a completely new battery technology platform that makes our battery more powerful or longer lasting. The point I'm trying to make here is, before you even think about anything else, collection, recycling, no matter what, the key impact you can do as a consumer, you can do as a company, is making sure that you have efficient, consistently, increasingly more efficient technology in your battery to make them longer lasting. It's a super simple formula. The longer battery lasts, the less waste you create. And we compared it against many other technologies out there, which we consider as very inefficient. And I don't want to point fingers, but some of them do come from the further east. And I think for a market, for a country, for consumers to make a key difference is go and buy efficient technologies. That is your first step of lowering the impact on the environment. And it's not just about waste. It's also, and that is the life cycle assessment I was talking about. So we were comparing our alkaline technology versus, many others, many inefficient ones. And depending on what technology you're looking at, and the life cycle assessment looked at, the carbon creation, the utilities used, the transport, the metal depletion, the fossil energy used, and all of this. With the right technology, you can lower your impact, not just waste, but all in all the supply chain efforts that are needed to produce, obviously, a battery by 70%. Happy to share further detail of our, so you can further study that. Again, to my earlier point, it's the key intervention you can do, and that goes back to my innovation is the key to lower our environmental impact. And we have a couple of proof points for this one, and continue to go down that route and to act upon that mission when it comes to our batteries. Now, batteries need to be transported. They need to go to the market, to consumers. Hence, you need packaging. Now, we pride ourselves that our so-called famous K-pack, and and why is it called K-pack? If you look at it from the side, actually it has the shape of a K. That's why we call it K-pack. We started almost 30 years ago to almost not use plastic or only where needed. Specifically on our main sizes, double and triple A. These are the most common sizes that we use in a household for all sorts of devices. We started 28 years ago using the K-pack, not using plastic. We did an internal research on this one and saying, okay, based on the specific weight of a blister, of a 4 count, as you can see it here, double and triple A, and we just looked at that. So this research does not include 6 count, 8 count, 12 count, and all these bigger packs. It's just those allowed us actually it's 29.5 years or whatever, to avoid the production of more than 6,000 tons of plastic, which is more than 320-ton trucks. That, again, I think goes back to innovation is the key to lower your impact. And we were one of the first to use cardboard packaging made from recycled material. And we gradually also increased the amount of recycled material over time when we looked at packaging. And today, depending on what pack, and really it depends, recycled content versus virgin, you always need a little bit of virgin content in order to ensure the stability of a packaging. But I think we are on average at 92 to 94% of recycled material per cardboard packaging. And we have and again, I'm personally always quite amazed when I talk to my product supply colleagues. They're on a constant mission to improve that. It's almost like this is their key mission, their key competition, their key challenge. And all our packaging that we have is 100% recyclable. So 98%, and you can see it here, of our primary, what you see here, and secondary packaging. These are the boxes, all the double A and triple A and whatever 4 count packs are being shipped, are made from recycled material. And when it comes to plastic free, when we look at our Western European lineup, we are currently at almost 90%. When we look at Europe and Africa, ENA included, we are at 80%. So we have a couple of construction sites here which already have been identified, and my product supply colleagues are working on in increasing that number. So right now we are at 80% for the total ENA region, and we hope by the end of the year we also get it up to almost 90%. But when we use plastic as part of our blisters, they're made from recycled PET. So anything that's PVC in there is out. That is specifically important for our, you can see the first packaging here is the so-called the lithium coin cells, and this is the child-safe packaging. It's a double blister pack, so that toddlers that potentially in a household get hold of that pack cannot open it with their bare hands. So here definitely a PET blister is a preferable thing to use. Now, looking at 2022, and we just started the year, we have a very strong plan of further reducing the plastic, the little plastic that has left or that is left within our total lineup across the region. And this is reducing blisters, get them out and so forth, wherever it's technically possible. It's almost like, it's a well-oiled machine that grinds its way through our packaging and kicks out plastic after plastic. And our plan is this year, we have identified the opportunity to almost exclude 100 tons of plastic. And that is one key stepping stone, on our mission to be plastic free by 2024. However, I just want to say, if we by then have not found an alternative cardboard solution, whatever it is, for our double blister child safety pack, then it's probably not 100% plastic free. We are 99.8, because child safety, I think, has a higher benefit than obviously also taking that percentage. But again, we're looking into this. That concludes packaging. Now, you buy a battery in a pack, you use it, and you have, because you obviously bought Duracell, it's longer lasting, now all about the innovation behind that and what we do to packaging. But essentially, after usage, a battery will be out, will be spent, will be out of power. One of the key things is, do not dispose of that battery via household waste. Now, an alkaline battery is made from zinc, manganese, steel, and so forth. These are safe material. So technically, if it lands on a landfill, fine, technically. But an empty cell is full of valuable raw materials. And in the EU, where we have, and it really depends on the various countries, you have batteries we have a collection target currently at 45%. In some countries, we are almost touching 70%. In other countries, we are barely hitting, over 20%. Many factors around that. What is the public infrastructure? What is the knowledge of consumers about the necessity to collect and recycle batteries, and so forth. That being said, since 2008, we have what we call an open loop recycling system that is working really well. Our batteries, and it's not just Duracell, it's the industry batteries, are being collected, and 100% of the batteries we are collecting are being recycled, i.e. used for other purposes. And you can see here, for road construction, and yes, also for micronutrient fertilizers, because there are a couple of elements in there that actually helps to grow plants. Is the battery therefore a green product? No, but in there are elements that help us to do that. The steel can be used for further steel and iron production. That's anything from scaffolding, guitar strings, or bicycle frames, as you can see it here. The zinc, used for furnaces, other zinc production, such as some, coating of rain pipes and all of this. Our so-called collector and the battery, the copper, highly valuable material that can be reused, and 6% even goes into cement production. So that being said, a battery that has been used and is out of power does not mean it's out of valuable raw materials. We need to collect and recycle those. It's super important. And last but not least, almost, so we looked at innovation behind the battery, the longer lasting, innovation behind packaging, use of recycled materials, getting plastic out, and so forth. We just looked at the collection and the recycling, the importance of collection and recycling of our consumer batteries. But it's also important the way you produce those batteries. One of our key missions was, and we started that in 2020, to produce and to have, and what you see here is our plant in Aarschot. My Flemish colleagues always, will not be satisfied with our pronunciation. In Aarschot, in Belgium, 40 kilometers east of Brussels. We're there since '67, so it's a production in the heart of Europe, which ensures fairly short transport ways. Obviously, delivering to Turkey is a little bit longer than delivering to the neighbor Netherlands, but all in all, the central position allows us to really keep short transport ways. Producing with green energy obviously helped us to dramatically use our carbon impact. You can see that here, but it's not just about carbon, but it's also the utilities we use in terms of the gas, the water. And there versus, and we started measuring then when we became our own company versus 2016, we made a significant cut in our utilities, but that's not the end of the line. But also when we look at, every waste within the production process never goes to landfill, it goes straight to our collection schemes and to our recyclers. And also one of the things that we turned almost into a religion is when you produce the so-called scrap, what falls, we collect and reuse because it's still, it's high quality material we use in order to produce new batteries. So we are in the wake of really perfecting um, that process. Now, last but not least, I just took you through those 4 pillars when it comes to the battery, the packaging, the plant, and the recycling. Our mission, as mentioned, is we are convinced again that innovation is the key to lower our environmental impact. I mentioned in the beginning we just concluded our first global carbon footprint. Now, what we're doing now is what we have started already is what are the key impact areas from an emission point of view to reduce our carbon impact. And one thing that is close or is within our direct reach and within our direct area of influence are our direct emissions. So anything related to the plant. So there we are already looking into, as just said, not just green energy, but further reducing the use of utilities. All other elements, let that be product packed or recycling, there's a lot of so-called indirect emissions in there. So this is the raw materials we get, the transport, the machinery, and all of this. Here we have started already last year to get in close contact with our suppliers to look into what policies do they have in place, what is their reduction strategy, what are the elements and everything that they have already installed in order to reduce their carbon impact. So it's a mutual observing and pushing, and they push us as well in continuously to reduce our carbon impact. And to conclude, our mission for 2022 is based on the strong data that we have, based on the good network that we have created with our suppliers specifically, among many things, to be able to formulate an ambitious but a meaningful carbon reduction target, which we still don't have. But now we have the database to do that. And to conclude, yes, sustainability, I think, stands for a complex topic, but also for a sense of urgency. We definitely have, picked up on that sense of urgency. We have accomplished a lot, if I may say, over the past couple of years, but there's still so much more to do. And we're happy, obviously, to keep you updated on our voyage, should you be interested. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Of course, we would be interested. And I just took 4 blocks of notes. And to begin
Yeah,
with, the key one is the importance of a viable strategy that is based on a proper assessment
yeah,
of the current situation, and actions designed to change, with your words, create a tangible change for
yeah,
the betterification of the environment. And we all need a sense of urgency, so that all these actions should be tied to a timetable
yeah,
and measurable KPIs that would guide us opportunities. The second important thing you stated was, for some sectors, the dissemination of the current technologies are sometimes more than enough for the next 5 to 10 years. But there are some key sectors where innovation is leading the change, and multiplying at a geometrical rate for the change. And all the R&D efforts and innovative efforts are really important for many sectors, and yours is one of them. Thank you for putting emphasis on this one. And the next one was the battery directive. Our audience can see the first-hand information signed by Frank for Duracell in internet for the EU's improvement of the battery directive efforts. So thank you very much again that we are receiving the information from an industry expert, the first-hand information from an industry expert. And the better regulation is also securing better implementation. And all the best practices that we practiced are happening under the best regulations and best regimes. This is what we are keen on, disseminating that information also. And lastly, the plant and recycling, the two minor ones, but as you stated, the important ones of your approach, they require public's and people's support and awareness to get successful. And that is what we are pushing on to. And saying that, thank you very much, Frank. That was really informative. And we are really impressed with the passion and the outcomes that you received on the best practices. And saying this one, Kerem Bey, tam bu noktada sözü size vermek istiyorum. Duracell'in küresel çabalarının yanı sıra ülkemizde de önemli inisiyatifleri var. Döngüsel ekonomi, sıfır atık konuları gündemimizde çok önemli bir yer işgal ediyor. Daha da artarak işgal edecek. Bu noktada batarya sektörünün kilit bir öneme sahip olduğunu da biliyoruz. Ülkemizde dünyada atık azaltımı, geri kazanım süreçlerinde bilinçli tüketicilerin de önemli rolü bulunmakta. Siz bu konuda neler yapıyorsunuz? Bize de bu konuda bilgi verebilirseniz çok memnun olurum. Buyurun lütfen.
Tabii ki. Merhabalar. Benim de küçük bir sunumum olacak sizlere. Frank'inki kadar bu kadar daha heyecanlı olmayabilir ama elimden geleni yapacağım diyebilirim size. Şöyle başlayayım. Frank'in anlattıklarını dinledikten sonra Duracell'de çalışmaktan gurur duymamak gerçekten elde değil. Hani Duracell olarak fazlasıyla elimizden gelen sorumluluğu yerine getirdiğimizi düşünüyorum. Frank'in anlattıklarının lokal markete yansımasıyla başlamak istiyorum. Duracell, inovasyona yaptığı yatırımlarla her daim ürettiği pillerin ömrünün uzaması için çalışıyor. Bunu Frank çok net bir şekilde söyledi. Ve size biraz evvel söylediği gibi de en son haberimiz 2022 itibariyle de Türkiye'de lansmanına başladığımız Optimum piller. Optimum piller ile 30 adet düşük kalite pilin verdiği enerjiyi bir pille vermeyi taahhüt ediyoruz biz Duracell olarak. Yani Optimum kullanarak 30 bitmiş pil yerine sadece bir bitmiş pil atığı oluşturabiliyorsunuz. Bu da çevre için ne kadar değerli siz benden daha iyi tasavvur edebilirsiniz. Yine 30 yıldır kullandığımız, 30 yıldan daha fazla yıldır kullandığımız karton ambalajları geliştirmeye de devam ediyoruz. Yeni Optimum paketlerine getirdiğimiz bitmiş pil biriktirme özelliğiyle geri dönüşümü daha da destekliyoruz. 30 yıl geriden de olsa bazı rakiplerimizin paket dönüşümünde bizleri takip ettiğini bugünlerde görmek de bizleri ayrıca mutlu ediyor. Geri dönüşüm ise bizim lokal markette en sert adımları attığımız, en fazla önem gösterdiğimiz madde diyebilirim. Bir sonraki slide lütfen. Bazı temel bilgileri tekrar ederek başlamak gerekirse buraya, öncelikle Frank'in söylediği gibi piller %100 geri dönüştürülebiliyorlar. Türkiye'de Kartepe'de Exit.com adında bir şirket var ve Exit.com tesislerinde pil geri dönüşümünü gerçekleştirebiliyorlar. Tek kullanımlık pillerin içerisinde doğaya zararlı madde bulunmuyor. Ama bakır, çinko, manganez, lityum gibi değerli ve doğada nadir bulunan maddeleri içeriyorlar. Bu sebeple pilleri geri dönüştürüp bu maddeleri tekrar döngüye sokabilmek çok önemli. Geri dönüştürülen maddeler ülkemizde çinko ve çelik, kozmetik, ilaç ve gübre üretimlerinde kullanılıyorlar. O yüzden çok değerliler. Bir sonraki slide lütfen. Avrupa'nın pil geri dönüşümü oranlarına bakacak olursak açıkçası çoğu ülkede %40'ın üzerinde geri toplama oranlarını görüyoruz ve bunu başarıyorlar. Ama bu yeterli değil diyorlar. Avrupa Birliği bu oranı az buluyor ve hedef olarak daha yukarısının %70'lerin hedeflenmesi gerektiğini savunuyor. Üzülerek söylüyorum ki ülkemizde bu oran sadece %8. Yanlış duymadınız, 8. Yani 100 tane pilin 8'i geri dönüştürülürken ülkemizde 92'si maalesef çöpe gidiyor. Peki Türkiye'de toplama ve geri dönüşüm proseslerini kim yönetiyor diye bakacak olursak bir sonraki slide lütfen. Şimdi şöyle bir durum var. Tüm pil ithalatçılarının üyesi olduğu TAP Derneği var. TAP Derneği Taşınabilir Pil Üreticileri ve İthalatçıları Derneği. Tüm toplama işi de TAP Derneği üzerinden yürütülüyor bizlerin desteğiyle beraber. Marketlerde ya da okullarda görebileceğiniz bu kırmızı kutularda biriktirilen piller TAP toplayarak Exit.com'a gönderiyor ve geri dönüşüm işlemi gerçekleştiriliyor. En son yapılan geri dönüşüm katkı payı uygulaması ile maalesef TAP Derneği'nin işlevliği biraz yara aldı diyebilirim. Bu da %8'in bile geri gitmesine neden olabilir. Biz de Duracell Türkiye olarak bu durumda bu oranın artması için aksiyona geçmeye karar verdik. Bir taraftan çocuklar için eğitim programları hazırlarken, Frank'in bahsettiği diğer ülkelerde olduğu gibi, bir taraftan da geri toplamayı teşvik edici kampanyalara imza atmaya başladık. Bir sonraki slide lütfen. Oluşturduğumuz sürdürülebilirlik farkındalık seminerleriyle ilkokul çocuklarımıza ulaşarak onlara sürdürülebilirlik nedir? Pil nasıl çalışır? Pilin içinde neler var? Neden geri dönüştürülmelidir? Ve en sonunda geri dönüşüm süreci nasıl oluyor? Çıktıları nerelerde kullanılıyor? Bu piller geri dönüşüm ne demek? Bütün bunları görsellerle, videolarla anlatıyoruz ve onları daha küçük yaştan itibaren eğitmeye uğraşıyoruz. Küçük yarışmalarla da biz biraz daha fazla heyecan getirmeye çalışıyoruz bu sunuma. Bunu yaparken Bilfen, Doğa Koleji gibi bazı özel okul zincirlerinin yanı sıra belediyelerin destekleriyle de bazı devlet okullarıyla birlikte çalışıyoruz. Onların yardımıyla çocuklara ulaşıyoruz. Tamamen gönüllülük esasıyla, tamamen gönüllü Duracell çalışanları aracılığıyla ile gerçekleştirdiğimiz bu seminerlerle son bir yılda 3.000 öğrenciye ulaştık. Ve 2022 sonunda ise 10.000 öğrenciye ulaşmış olacağız. Bunun için harıl harıl uğraşıyoruz diyebilirim. Bir sonraki slaytım. Bir diğer konuda söylediğim gibi geri toplamanın teşvik edilmesi. Bu konuyu iki farklı başlık altında değerlendirdik. Birincisi toplamayı tüketiciler için kolaylaştırmak. Çünkü insanlarda bu bilinç yokken insanlara topla dediğin zaman, bunları şuraya getir dediğin zaman zorlanıyoruz. O yüzden de bu prosesi biraz daha kolaylaştırmamız gerektiğini düşündük. Bu bağlamda hem İstegelsin ile hem de Migros Sanal Market ile ortaklıklar gerçekleştirdik. Onların aracılığıyla evlere küçük toplama kutuları dağıttık. Ve onlardan bu kutularda bitmiş pilleri toplamalarını rica ettik. En sonunda da toplanan pilleri İstegelsin ve Migros hemen kuryeli, Migros Sanal Market kuryeleri aracılığıyla evlerden topladık. Tekrardan geri dönüşüme kattık bunları. Bir diğer konu ise teşvik için bir ek yarar sağlamak. Dedik ki insanların geri getirmesi için bir ek yarar sağlarsak bunun sonucunda daha fazla pil toplayabiliriz. Ve 2021 Eylül ayı itibariyle Migros ile yeni bir kampanyaya başladık. Toplanıp Migros'lardaki geri dönüşüm kutularına getirilen her 3 kilogram atık pil için görme engelli dostlarımıza verilmek üzere gözlere beyaz baston bağışı gerçekleştirdik ve kampanya devam ediyor. O yüzden hala da gerçekleştiriyoruz. Şu ana kadar sadece 4 ayda 4 tona yakın pil toplandı. Gözünüzde canlanabilmesi için de 4 ayda toplanan bu miktar normalde Migros'un 1 yılda topladığı miktarın üzerinde. Yani çok başarılı kampanyanın çok başarılı gittiğini sizlere gururla söyleyebilirim. Ve sizleri de bu kampanyaya katılmaya davet ediyorum açıkçası. Hala devam ediyor ve belli bir süre daha devam ettirmeyi düşünüyoruz. Bütün bu yaptıklarımızla geri toplamayı teşvik ederek ve kolaylaştırarak amacımız tabii ki hani pillerin toplamını %8'den %40'lara, %50'lere çıkartmaktan ziyade insanlarda biraz daha fazla pil toplama alışkanlığını oluşturabilmek. Çünkü Frank'in de söylediği gibi insanlar biraz daha plastiğin geri dönüşümünde veya camın geri dönüşümünde bir tık daha istekli davranabilirlerken pil biraz daha fazla göz ardı edilen ürünler oluyor. Evlerde de pillerin kullanımında bildiğiniz üzere pili koyduğunuzda uzun bir süre o pili kullanıyorsunuz ve sonrasında bittiği zaman aklınıza geliyor. O yüzden uzun zamanlı kullanılan ürünler olduğu için biraz daha fazla aklımızda arka sıralarda kalabiliyor. Bundan dolayı pil geri dönüşümünün önemini bir taraftan gençlere anlatırken, çocuklarımıza anlatırken bir taraftan da bu alışkanlığı oluşturabilmek için de bu tip kampanyalar düzenliyoruz. Genel olarak Türkiye ile ilgili söyleyebileceklerim bunlar ama özü nedir diye soracak olursanız %8'lik olan oranı bizim hızlı bir şekilde yukarıya götürmemiz gerekiyor. Çünkü başka bir şansımız yok. Şu anda çok geriden geliyoruz Türkiye olarak diye söyleyebilirim.
Kerem Bey çok teşekkürler. Biz de aldık, toplama kutularınızı kullanıyoruz YASET'te. Onun için ayrıca teşekkür ederiz. Kampanyanıza da elimizden geldiğince destek vermeye çalışıyoruz. Üyelerimizdeki farkındalığı da artıracak şekilde. Üyelerimizden gelen sorular var dinleyicilerimizden. Emre Atalar Bey Vodafone'dan sorusu biraz önce cevaplandı. Siz İstegelsin'le beraber yürüttüğünüz program hakkında detaylı bilgi verince. Bir soru da Frank Bey'e. We have just one more question from the audience for you, Frank Bey. Have you considered including a deposit amount in the sales price or give a monetary incentive for people to return the used batteries back to your company? This is a very econometric issue that we've been discussing for such a very long time, but we would be really happy to receive your insights on this one. And this one is coming from Selim Taşabey from Alliance Healthcare.
So, deposits is one of the hottest topics we are discussing on a EU level, and I think it sounds like a really good idea, because why would you not do this? You have an additional amount of money, then you as a user of a battery know exactly, I get my 5 cents back when I return, or 3 or 1, whatever, when I return my battery. Now, and let me just quickly talk out of the reality that we have currently in the EU is, it works really well for beverages because it's an item that you consume on a weekly basis. So you go to your grocery, you buy your PET bottle of mineral water, whatever, your aluminum can or whatever, you consume it, you know exactly where you bought it. There's an infrastructure, there's machinery, you bring it back and you redeem your money. Batteries you buy potentially twice a year. And you usually, I mean, that's when we look at how consumers behave and buy and shop batteries. It's an impulse purchase. Oh, I still need, and then they buy a couple, they put it on the shelf, and whenever they need, they put it in. So we talk about months, you know, and you hardly remember where you bought it, and where to go back. You know, that's one thing, where to go back to redeem your money. Issue with a deposit is someone needs to give you the money. So, which means you would direct all the collection efforts to retail. Now, retail is not always very enthusiastic about that additional task because this is where they're bought and this is where they redeem. But you would render all, and again, that's the EU perspective right now, you would render all the existing collection infrastructure, curbside collection, central collection points, completely useless, because if I can get money, I don't bring it to those points anymore. And specifically, if we look at Belgium, small country, I get it, but there we have the best combination out of everything, meaning they have a collection infrastructure, I think every 600 to 800 meters, they say, they have some shape of form or collection point. Central, public, curbside collection, retail, schools. So they really make it easy for consumers. It's the convenience aspect. They do, you know, the whole awareness campaign via TV, social media, digital, and so you can hardly get around the message around that you need to bring back your batteries. And what they have introduced in a way is a fee that when you purchase batteries, it goes straight to the scheme. It's not to make them rich. It's to make them further build the infrastructure and invest in the efforts to drive awareness for consumers. We have seen this working super well. But truth to be told, as I said, it's a hot topic, the deposit, because it seems like a smart thing to do. But we have done quite some studies and quite some investigation and believe, based on the current data we have, it's better to drive overall awareness, to increase the collection infrastructure from a community point of view, make it really convenient for consumers, and make it part of their behavior, the way they today bring back glass, PET, or cardboard.
Thank you very much. And considering the partnerships that you realize with the retail sector, maybe we can wish that some more innovative solutions may arise from those partnerships in the future. But currently, what you have stated is the current stance of many firms and many approach in this firm. Thank you very much, Frank. Kerem Bey, size bir sorumuz var. Metro'dan Gamze Hanım'ın sorusu. Sizin pil geri dönüşüm tesisiniz var mı? Toplanan pilleri nasıl geri kazanıyorsunuz? Kısmen cevaplamıştınız. Biraz daha detaylı bilgi verebilirseniz çok memnun oluruz.
Okey. Biraz evvelki soruyla da linkleyerek söylemek istiyorum aslında Türkiye'deki durumu da biraz daha anlayabilmemiz için. Türkiye'de TAP adında bir dernek var. Bu derneğin açılımı Taşınabilir Pil Üreticileri ve İthalatçıları Derneği. Ve Türkiye'deki pillerin, taşınabilir pillerin %100'ü ithal ediliyor. Türkiye'de üretim şu an için yok. Ve ithal eden herkesin bu derneğe üye olması şart. O yüzden herkes üye oluyor. Ve üye olmuş bir şekilde de aidatlarını ödüyorlar ve TAP Derneği bizler için süpermarketlere, okullara şu an ekranda gördüğünüz kırmızı kutuları yerleştiriyor. Çeşitli bilgilendirici kampanyalar düzenliyor ve pil geri dönüşümünü biraz daha fazla o awareness'ı, o farkındalığı biraz daha fazla arttırmaya uğraşıyor. En sonunda da bu pilleri, toplanan pilleri, buralarda toplanan pilleri toplayıp Kartepe'de bulunan Exit.com adında bir şirket var. Murat Ilgar'ın liderliğinde devam eden Exit.com şirketi Türkiye'deki pilleri geri dönüştürebilen tek tesis. En sonunda bu toplanan piller Exit.com'a gidiyor ve Exit.com'da bu süreç ilerliyor. Yani aslında bu süreç toplamda bir kolektif efor diyebilirim. Bütün pil ithalatçılarının toplamda birlikte yaptıkları bir efor diyebilirim. Burada özellikle belirtmek istediğim bir konu var. O da bildiğiniz gibi 2019 yılıydı sanırsam geri dönüşüm katkı payı hayatımıza girdi. Ve bununla beraber de pil üreticileri ithal ettiklerinde pilleri her ithal ettikleri pil başına belli bir vergiyi GECAP olarak geri dönüşüm katkı payı olarak devlete ödüyorlar. Buna başladıktan sonra aslında şöyle bir durum ortaya çıkmaya başladı. Bazı pil ithalatçıları burada sorumluluğu kendi üzerinden attıklarını düşünmeye başladılar. Dediler ki ben zaten parayı ödüyorum GECAP olarak devlete. Devlet de bu geri dönüşümle ilgili bütün aksiyonları alacaktır. O yüzden benim üzerimde sorumluluk kalmadı diye düşünmeye başladılar. Bu da TAP'ın şu ana kadar yaptığı, evet %8 çok az ama TAP olmasaydı açıkçası %8'e bile ulaşamazdık. Çok net söylüyorum size. TAP'ın yaptığı bütün bu eforları biraz daha fazla geri planda bıraktı. O yüzden aslında olması gereken şey bu GECAP ödendikten sonra geri dönüştürülen piller için ne kadar geri dönüştürülüyorsa bunun takibi çok zor değil. Belli bir oranda geri ödeme yapılması gerekiyor ki bütün ithalatçı şirketlerin buradaki geri toplamanın kendilerine olan faydasını daha net anlayabilmeleri için. Ve böylece de TAP'ı daha fazla destekleyerek bu %8'lik oranı hep beraber daha yukarıya taşıyabilmemiz gerekiyor. O yüzden heyecanla bu GECAP çıktıktan sonra uygulamasının nasıl olacağını bekliyoruz. İnşallah önümüzdeki dönemde YASED'in de destekleriyle beraber oluşturabileceğimiz bir komiteyle beraber bunu daha doğru şekillenmesini sağlayabiliriz diye umuyorum.
Kerem Bey çok teşekkürler. Dediğiniz gibi GECAP sıcak gündemimiz bizim de. Bu dönemde Çevre Bakanlığımızla ilgili birimleriyle olan görüşmelerimizde de görüştüğümüz, çok farklı sektörleri de içerecek şekilde görüştüğümüz bir konu. Bahsettiğiniz hedefleri gerçekleştirmek için netice alabileceğimize inanıyoruz biz de. Desteklerinizle eforlarımızı sürdüreceğiz. Burada there is one last question to Frank. Actually, that is extending the issues that you stated. And apart from the environmental issues that you based, what are your focused on the ESG domain, focusing more on the social and governance issues of the field? If you can just give brief insights about this, we would appreciate that.
As said in the very beginning, our focus clearly is on environmental sustainability, because there we can this way have the biggest impact, and there we can create the biggest impact in decreasing our impact, if you will. So it's a focus area where we will really, have rallied up all our resources behind to make there the biggest positive impact. That being said, obviously we looked into, so how are we doing from a social environment, from a social sustainability point of view? Truth to be told, I just briefly touched it in the beginning, is when it comes to gender equality, pay equality, equal opportunity, and all these things, we are in a very good position there as a company. So I'm working out of Geneva. If we just look at diversity as one of the key elements, without going further into detail, now we're about 65 people in our Central Europe and Africa office, represented already, I think, by 21 or 22 nations, or only that. We are pretty much 50-50 women, men in that office. And I think if you look at, across our region, you have almost a similar ratio sometimes, but truth to be told, there's still, 1 or 2 or 3 percentage point more males. We're working on this. But when it comes to governance, and that is the thing, I think the element that comes out of our environmental focus is also looking into, and this is when we looked at the glide path chart, is these accreditation, i.e. this agency that look into that your supply chain, that your value chain is from a business ethical point of view is really state of art. And that is also something in light of our focus that we're after, to really make sure that all the partners we're working with, wherever we get our raw materials, all the people within the supply chain working in order to be, working to have batteries produced, we not only comply with standards, but we are really leading here. What we are currently have done, looking at all the partners and all the individual conversations that we have, we're in a very good position. But you as a company can claim that any given moment. That's why we have reached out, working with the Responsible Minerals Initiative. We are working from an eco point of view with Nordic Swan. There's another one called SEDEX, another big entity we're working with. And we just concluded a study, what else is out there from UN Global Compact to other accreditation bodies to really make sure that we have an official proof of that we as Duracell, we're not just claiming it because we know, but it's official that from a governance point of view, the way we conduct business, it's ethically sound and we are leading the way.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. And one last question for Kerem Bey. Kerem Bey, Dışişleri Bakanlığımızdan Saray Hanım'ın bir sorusu size yönlendiriyorum. Pil endüstrisindeki geri dönüşüm sürecinin İsrail'de nasıl işlediği hakkında bilgi paylaşmanız mümkün olup olmadığını bir ülke örneği üzerinden paylaşmanızı rica etmiş kendisi. Sözü size bırakıyorum.
Okey. Şöyle söyleyebilirim. İsrail'de bizim operasyonumuz öncelikle oradaki bir full servis distribütörümüz var bizim. Ve onun üzerinden gerçekleştiriyoruz. Diplomat isminde bir ortağımız var onlarla beraber. Ve direkt pilleri Belçika'dan alıyorlar ve Belçika'dan oraya transport oluyor. Yani Türkiye üzerinden bir geçiş olmuyor. İsrail'deki geri dönüşüme baktığınızda oradaki farkındalık Türkiye'deki farkındalığın çok daha üzerinde. O yüzden geri dönüşüm anlamında, toplama anlamında bizden daha ötedeler ve Avrupa'nın bir tık altındalar diyebilirim. Yani yaklaşık %35 civarında pilde bir geri dönüşüm oranlarına sahipler. Orada toplam bütün ürünlerin geri dönüşümüyle beraber pillerin de geri dönüşümünü sağlayan tesisler bulunmakta. Bunlar kullanılıyor ama bunun haricinde de belli bir pil atıkları da diğer ülkelere ihraç ediliyor ve bu ihracatın sonucunda da o pillerden kurtuluyorlar İsrail. Bu bağlamda bizdeki geri dönüşüm oranları, Türkiye'deki geri dönüşüm oranları çok az olduğu için, %8'lerde olduğu için bizim Exit.com diye söylediğim Kartepe'deki tesis maalesef çok efektif bir şekilde çalışamıyor. Pilleri topluyor, bayağı bir zaman beklemesi gerekiyor. Toplandıktan sonra bir seferde bunların geri dönüşümünü sağlıyor. Bu bağlamda da bizim partnerlerimizle Exit.com'u Duracell olarak irtibata geçiriyoruz. Ve İsrail'de toplanan pillerin belli bir miktarını, aynı şeyi biz Dubai için de gerçekleştirdik, Azerbaycan için de gerçekleştirdik. Belli bir miktarda pillerin Türkiye'ye bizim ithal etmemizi, onların ihraç etmesini sağlamak ve bunun sayesinde de iki taraflı win-win oluşturmak üzerine de çalışmalarımızı sürdürüyoruz diyebilirim. Daha detaylı bilgi gerekiyorsa bu arada benimle irtibata geçebilirler. Elimden geleni yaparım.
Tabii ki. Kerem Bey çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sağ olun. Hem sunum hem de verdiğiniz bilgiler için çok teşekkür ederiz gerçekten. And I really enjoyed our conversation and I'm sure our viewers must have enjoyed it as well. And Frank, would you like to share a final message to our viewers at the very end of our live stream?
My final message, I think, goes back to you, goes back to Yaset, because I think what the forum you provide here is exactly the right thing, what it needs. On the one hand, you have the industry, you have the experts of the industry, but you link it with the regulators, the government officials, with, in that case, the Turkish state, in order to ensure that both intelligence, as you will, on both sides get together and work on on future policies or for Turkey that really will work well when it comes to sustainability. Let that be social, let that be economic, and let that be environmental. So I'm super grateful to have been given the opportunity to share our Duracell point of view. Yes, but I think also big applause to you, because you provide that forum. You made this topic a priority, not just for 2022, but going on. And as you said, in the beginning that, you know, it's a series of 15. So that gives a good overview of 15 presentations. That will give a good overview of the situation of international companies in Turkey and their position to sustainability. And obviously, we are more than happy to contribute, and not just Duracell. I think I'm quite sure I speak for all of the members of YASED to make sure that we give all our expertise, knowledge, and intelligence, if you will, in order to make sustainability a really well-working topic for Turkey.
Frank, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. It's our pleasure to having you in this event series and contributing to our global agenda of increasing our pace, increasing the pace of our activities in achieving sustainable development in Turkey for meeting our commitments in the Paris Agreement that are going to be updated soon. Kerem Bey, çok teşekkür ederiz değerli katkılarınız için. Biz dinleyen bütün üyelerimize de, değerli konuklarımıza, network'ümüzdeki kamu ve özel sektör kuruluşlarına da ilgileri ve destekleri için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Ülkemizde son dönemde çok hız kazanan, Frank'in de söylediği gibi aslında uzun süredir gündemimizde olan ama son dönemde aktivitelerin daha da arttığı, bilincin daha da yükseldiği bir konu. Hız kesmeden kısa vadede net kazanımlar peşindeyiz biz de. Ve bunun bir kısmı regülasyondan geçiyor, bir kısmı da iyi uygulamaların yayınlaşması, yaygınlaşması ve üyelerimiz arasından başlayarak birbirinden öğrenmenin desteklenmesi. Orada da çok ciddi bir potansiyel olduğunu görüyoruz. Bu serilerimize devam edeceğiz. Değerli katkılarınız için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Frank, Kerem Bey, it was a pleasure having you both. Take care. We would like to meet you in person in Healthy Days.
Yes.
Yes.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.